So this video is for people who have a stock unmodified Glock 43X and also a stock unmodified Shield Arms S15 magazine, in which case this one is the Gen 2. So if you modified either one of these, this is not for you. Your mileage may vary, and this video doesn't apply to you necessarily. For those of us that have this, we know that this Glock system has been proven out over many decades. Built and proven years ago. Very reliable system in which you can shoot a full metal jacket. The weight can vary. You can shoot brass, that's fine. You can also shoot hollow points, that is also fine. However, if I take this one component out of the equation and introduce this one, and we begin to see failures, then the incorrect thing to do is to look at the proven system and look at ways to modify or change or replace what we already know is good. We don't need to cut or modify or change this barrel, polish this feed ramp. We already know it's fine. The only thing that changed was this. If we bring this back, the failures disappear. So this is our variable. So this video is going to look more closely at this component and try to analyze why it does not behave precisely like this one. So the investigation didn't take long. Although you see a loaded bullet in there, this is a safe weapon. It will not fire because it will not successfully load the bullet into the chamber. This is a Shield Arms magazine. If I hit that slide stop release right there, I guarantee you it will jam just like that right there. So yeah, the investigation didn't take long. About 5 minutes after I sat down and looked at it, seeing what was wrong. And the bottom line is that the magazine does not position the bullet in the proper location for the slide to successfully load a bullet. And to help explain that, I found this snazzy 3D animation, and we'll get into that next.
As the slide moves forward, the bottom rail of the slide strips a new cartridge from the magazine and pushes it up the ramp of the barrel and into the chamber.
Man, I love those 3D animations. I love doing CAD work. But anyhow, try to keep that in mind. It's a good animation, a good explanation. I'm going to get this slide off of here and show it to you IRL. Because it's critical to understand that this piece, that section, needs to be behind the bullet. There needs to be clearance there. There's that piece. So this piece did not get milled out. The face right here, it lines up with the breech face. They highlighted it in yellow in that animation. So this needs to be, the bullet needs to be in front of this when you think about it. You can see mine has a little wear on it. You'll see why here pretty soon. Okay, let's replicate that animation with the real components here. We're going to position this where it should be. The bullet's in front, so when the slide moves forward, we will load the bullet off the follower, just like that. Here are handy dandy extractors holding on to it for us. That was the Glock mag and how it does it. And here's the S15 and what it does instead. So we want to be here, but instead it's hitting underneath the slide way the heck over here. Of course, that's an exaggeration, but I like to embellish for humor and to prove a point. I want to be there, but it hits here, underneath. Okay? It's really more like this, just a little bit of interference. And sometimes it seats itself after. But in reality, it hits just the back of the bullet. The interference is probably 4 thousandths of an inch, 4 to 7 thousandths, something like that. And then if you're lucky, it'll come in here and seat properly. Not always, but it should go straight here. That's what I want. But instead, it's hitting here when you first stick it in there. Okay? So this clickety-clacking you're hearing, that's the bullet hitting the bottom of the slide, like I showed you a few minutes ago. Now right there it snapped forward, and this one looks like it'll probably load, but I don't want probably, you know, gotta take a direct line there like I was saying earlier. So look at that, remember that face I told you to remember. the breech face, there's interference right here. We should have clearance, but we don't. We have interference. The bullet is underneath the breech face. So as you see right here, if the slide moves forward, you're going to have problems. It'll make it difficult if you're not behind that bullet. If you are following along at home, you can see on your Glock mag you do have the space you need, and the ejector is touching the bullet. This is what you want. And just for fun, I have a second Shield Arms magazine right here. But it's the same thing. I'm hitting the slide. The bullet's hitting the slide instead of the ejector. Look at all that space between the casing and the ejector right there. So this is my third mag, and it's the same thing. Interference, and then it snaps forward sometimes into place. And one way you could address this is if you do not seat your bullet all the way back, you can push it forward in the mag a little bit, create a little space where the slide will go and clear. So when you stick it in here, the bullet will hit the ejector first and not interfere with the slide. And this actually looks like it might load. Looks pretty good, but I do not consider this a real solution. I don't like it. I do not recommend it. So you go back home where you belong, buddy. Now let me get this S15 in here and try to shoot a bird's eye view of this engagement as we enter the mag well. And that's a good one. Great, awesome. Let's see how many good ones we can get here now. If I can get this light just right, and oh, 1. So the answer is 1. This weapon is now incapacitated, completely safe. It will not fire because it will not load. Now if you were on the range trying to have some fun, your fun just ended. You'd probably be a little annoyed because you get this jam. Yeah, and have mercy if you were defending yourself at this moment, because and you know what, I'm not trying to be dramatic, but you know what, I know some people out there are going to be dramatic. Right, they're going to yell at me, dude, you need to slam that magazine in there all the way, 100%, as hard as you can. Relax, Leroy. I am familiar with that technique, okay? I've been with your mama. I encourage you to remove your slide. Things are just easier to see, measure, and observe. There's the mag catch and the mag well. I'm pushing on it out here, and you can see it moving inside. Now keep this component in mind because it's key. It seats your magazine as well as releases your magazine when you're done. This piece goes inside the window on the mag right here, in which this window is too small. Its location is questionable, and it just causes problems. The taper will guide this magazine into the wrong location and then snap forward to about 22 degrees. However, again, it comes in at something like 20 degrees, and then if you're lucky, it goes to 22. Now with the slide off, it is super easy to see the misalignment problem. This is the Glock mag, and you see the slide stop release perfectly aligned with the flat on the follower. Do this a few times to get an idea of what should happen. Once you're comfortable with that, go ahead and take one of your S15 magazines and watch it misalign and then snap forward like that. Sometimes it does it good. That one's a jam. This one's probably good. Snap forward maybe 60 or 80%. That one's like 50%. So yeah, do this with the slide off, and it's clear as day. Look at the back of the mag right here. Watch it snap forward. Okay, that's where the back of your bullet's going to be. That's where the interference is with your slide. Another important observation is to witness what happens as both these magazines engage into the receiver from the right side of the receiver. Now watch the mag catch. You can see the light hit it at the top, this thing right here. So as you're pushing this in, engaging it slowly, observe what happens. You can see how much of the mag catch comes out before it finally drops down. And that's what you're looking for. Also, when you're doing this, get a feel for where you first detect pressure as you're inserting the mag in. Here I have about this much hanging out the bottom when I feel pressure, and this is the Glock mag. Do this with Shield, and it's almost all the way in before you feel anything. And you see hardly any interaction right here with the mag catch. It barely moves. Why? Because it's in the wrong spot. It's too far back. It's underneath your slide. All right? And I'm almost all the way engaged. Regarding the fit of the two magazines, well, they behave very differently when you try to assemble these things into the pistol frame. The form is significantly different, which we'll look at. And as for function, if it wasn't for the reliability issues, then I wouldn't even be looking at this. Okay, so let's pause because you know that guy, he's coming. Reliability? Bro, I've shot this magazine 1,000,000,000 times, bro. Every day for the past 300 years. Zero reliability issues, bro. Zero. Anyways, let's look at the lead-in taper surfaces and how they are different. The width and depth of these two guys. The shape and angle of the follower. The size and location of the window. And this ridge makes for a very different fit as well. The dimension on the Glock mag where the mag catch engages checks at 1 inch 305. And on the S15 mag, this measurement checks 1 inch 308, inch 307, so probably something to look at. With just a naked eye, you can see the Shield Arms window is smaller, and because of the surfaces, is farther away from you. This width checks 310 thousandths of an inch, so that's how much space Glock gives you. If I try to put this in here, it doesn't even fit. It's not even close. So what is it? I have to move these in so I can get in there, and we are looking at 285 thou. Okay, so that's a 25 thousandths difference. That's a mile, and definitely something to look at. The followers are shaped differently, and they seem to sit in here at a different angle. I recommend just replicating the Glock one. The width of the mag and this surface here is also important because the thicker this is, the closer that notch will be to your mag catch. And you look here, there is a second surface that's tapered, followed by a third surface. This is important to keep in mind because this acts as a shoehorn which guides the mag into the pistol. And on the other hand, we see, wow, some really different stuff here. I mean, it looks cool. You got this shoulder over here and different stuff, but I'm going to, again, recommend we try to just replicate what we know already works between the two. Out of every little problem child I've discussed and showed, this is your killer right here. This is your ringleader to all your problems, that dimension and the lack of a taper. This thing's fat up here and small at the bottom. For those that didn't know, the entire Glock magazine is tapered. So there you go. At the top here, the big part, we get 1 inch 310, 311 thousandths. And on the S15 mag, we get 1 inch 243 thousandths. Okay, that's 68 thousandths of an inch difference. And that is where my dreams and hopes of a 15-round magazine came to a screeching halt. But it's better to be smaller. It goes in easier. Yeah, maybe you tried to convince her, but she's no fool. Look at all that slop before you get to the final seating location. Okay, and some people want to blame that mag catch because it's plastic, and you can't have it because metal on plastic doesn't work. Dude, have you even looked at the Glock? The entire thing is metal on plastic, okay? It works fine. This plastic follower moves up and down a metal tube, okay? I want to address the myth that the mag catch, this little guy, is the root cause to everything. It's just this right here. This poor little polymer dude simply doesn't have what it takes to withstand the superior hardness of a metal magazine. It will be beaten down, broken down, and will just fail. Imagine the S15 magazine with its super slick surface finish that is not abrasive in the least bit engages with this mag catch. You have pressure on the surface, and as it comes in, the tension bar snaps it into the window like that. Push the button, it comes out. It comes in like this. Release it, it falls out of your mag well. When it comes in, again, it touches, and then it falls in the hole. Now pause the video. Think about this. Tell me where damage would be, the left or right. To my surprise, it's on the right, on the bottom. Now I should be looking at a sharp corner because we have 3 edges coming to a point, but instead I see this thing has been taking a beating from something. We see the dovetail point is missing on the right. There's a little bit of wear on the front, the top side, but you see a lot of material missing on the underneath somehow. Let's consider the window on this mag. Okay, it's special, it's different. The Glock doesn't have one. You gotta be careful not to get stuff in here because every time you fire a round, a bullet comes off and stuff moves up. You see the follower now, it moved up. So you don't want to have anything in here that could interfere or get run over by that traffic, right? So let's fire another round and watch this stuff move up. Stuff keeps moving up. Another round. Now we see the spring. One more round. Uh-oh. This guy looks awfully close to the end. So if we put the mag catch on here and it's able to snag it, hold on to it, run through it, we'll have a problem. So that tension bar keeps pressure against this thing. Try to replicate that by holding this up here and sticking it in the window. Let's hold this down, stick this in its position, and if we let go, what happens?
Holy Jesus! What is that? What the fuck is that?
Well, sir, that would explain why the underneath of the dovetail on the mag catch is jacked up, sir. Hopefully that was clear. Essentially, this thing is so poorly designed that the spring travels across a path where this guy's located and just beats up on that corner. This poor dude, it's okay, buddy. You've been blamed for all these years, but now we know. I done told the whole world that it's not you, and it's all good. The root cause of why this guy will jam. Number one, you probably heard it when I picked it up. This thing is, the bullets are not secure, they shake. I've heard they fixed it with Gen 2, but obviously it's not. Or combined with that is the fact that as this component interfaces within the magwell, it is not being driven into the proper seating location. And when it's not in the proper seating location, this guy will still snap forward with the intent of loading a bullet, but instead it will slide over the OD of the casing, giving you a failure to feed. You can see there is a lot of space with all that slop. You can see where it should go. It comes in like this. Sometimes it goes forward a little bit, sometimes it goes forward all the way, and that's when you get your successes. But your failures are coming when it doesn't snap forward all the way. Every now and then, the stars seem to align, and it's funny to me. As I'm finally wrapping up this video, I finally decided to look up the company Shield Arms, and it turns out they're located in Montana, so here in America. These things are made in the USA, which means something to me. I'm an old salty dog from the U.S. Navy. I'm also into manufacturing engineering, so yeah, I'm all about that made in the USA. I look forward to Gen 3 of this design and to the chief of Shield Arms, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon.